California's San Jose Airport, 2019. There's a private Gulfstream G650 landing. Adam Neumann, a co-founder of WeWork, has joined. He is accompanied by a case containing cash, tequila bottles, and evidence of marijuana use during flight. Despite his company's swift financial downfall, he has come to make another contract. In the meantime, WeWork's worth is falling from $47 billion to $8 billion, and 2,400 workers in New York are getting notifications of layoffs. This is the tale of a man who destroyed his own business and wiped out billions of dollars in investor funds in order to earn $1.7 billion. New York City, 2010. Miguel McElvey and Adam Neumann inaugurate the first location under the WeWork name. The concept is straightforward. The organization subleases huge office spaces to small enterprises, freelancers, and startups after renovating and dividing them into smaller offices. Neumann refers to it as a revolution in people's lifestyles rather than real estate. Neumann has experimented with a number of positions before this. Selling baby onesies with knee protection was his first venture. Adam took one important lesson away from the failure: a well-presented idea sells better than the actual thing. That served as the basis for WeWork. Our business creates communities. Our mission is clear. Curating and creating culture is what we do best, Neumann added. Miguel, his partner and a trained architect, assisted with the design, but Adam was the center of attention from the beginning. He was creating a personal cult in addition to a business. He talked about a future in which everyone would live and work together, walked barefoot in the office, and cited philosophers. He was successful in persuading investors of this. Benchmark, a venture capital firm, was the first to believe. Their $17 million investment in WeWork changed everything at once. The business quickly expanded throughout America, opening offices in Boston, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Washington, Seattle, and other places, rather than just a few in New York. Neumann was at the center of a larger vision that was reflected in the opening of 23 new locations. He enjoyed being the center of attention. He spoke in the style of a spiritual leader. He discussed the purpose of life, the loss of interpersonal connections, and how WeWork would help people rediscover them. Influencing oneself and leading by example is the first step towards influencing the world. In fact, we have the power to alter the world. I think it is our duty as Jews to be the best role models on the earth. Venture investors who were interested in investing in something other than office space were captivated by his inspirational voice, even though his statements frequently lacked specifics. Within the organization, his cult only became stronger. His speeches were followed by standing ovations from the staff. Nobody ventured to challenge his beliefs. He was viewed by many as a prophet rather than a CEO. It's all of us. Every single one of us is present because it has a purpose. For the simple reason that we want to earn money while doing something that genuinely improves the planet. Additionally, Neumann was successful in persuading everyone that WeWork was a tech startup. Neumann contended that WeWork was revolutionizing the way people work, much like Uber revolutionized transportation and Airbnb revolutionized hospitality, despite the fact that the firm did not develop software or possess any patented innovations. Investors believed in the dream he was selling. WeWork started rapidly expanding internationally, with offices in London, Tokyo, Sao Paulo, Berlin, and Shanghai after receiving millions of dollars in new investments. The corporation rented millions of square meters of office space, expanded to over 100 locations in dozens of countries, and announced grandiose ambitions in a matter of years. It appeared to investors to be a huge expansion. However, there was another reality hidden behind that fast expansion. Costs associated with each new office included rent, furnishings, staff, marketing, and upgrades. However, revenue was insufficient to meet the costs. The business lost $1.6 billion in 2018. That was the official number. Neumann, however, referred to it as investment in the future rather than halting or improving the model. Profit was not the first priority, he informed investors. What was important was growth, scale, and mission. Creating large corporations is not the objective. Finding something you genuinely enjoy is the aim. Verify that there is a purpose behind it. Verify that it will improve the state of the globe. The central concept evolved into an ethereal vision of a future in which life, work, and education are all combined into one area. Under this concept, Neumann started two further projects: WeGrow, an alternative school for kids, and WeLive, residential complexes that promised a new way of life. However, none of these concepts developed into successful companies. SoftBank emerged as the principal investor. The renowned Japanese businessman Masayoshi Son thought Neumann had a lot of charisma. He made the decision to invest more than $4 billion after their initial encounter. Neumann pledged a worldwide revolution in spite of the significant losses reported. Adam was given the money and complete autonomy. He began spending the funds for both personal and corporate expansion. He purchased a private plane for $60 million. He bought property and leased it to WeWork. To put it another way, the business borrowed space from its own creator. No one at WeWork questioned this conflict of interest, even though it was a textbook one. Additionally, Neumann started aggressively purchasing tech businesses, frequently without a well-defined plan. Among the purchases were analytics and AI services, educational platforms, and even friends enterprises, such as a pool company that created artificial waves. He invested hundreds of millions of dollars to make WeWork appear to be a significant innovation holding company rather than just a rental company. In investor presentations, the company's valuation was supported by these projects. In actuality, however, they merely raised expenses, produced no income, and were shut down in a matter of months. The company's valuation continued to rise in spite of this. WeWork was worth $47 billion at its height. In the public eye, everything progressed toward the next natural step, which is an IPO. The business got ready to go public. However, Neumann began selling off his own shares, which totaled more than $700 million, before to the IPO. This made people wonder. If the founder genuinely believed in the business, why was he cashing out? WeWork eventually filed for an IPO in August 2019. Everything started to fall apart after that. For years, what had been hidden behind catchphrases and Neumann's charm was now made public. A really brutal reality emerged from the materials. The business was drowning in debt in addition to being unprofitable. The entire operation was funded entirely by investor funds and expenses greatly outstripped income. With more than 700 locations across 39 countries at the time, WeWork spent more than 80% of its revenue, more than $2.7 billion annually, just to pay rent. One by one, journalists from Bloomberg, The Wall Street Journal, and The New York Times started releasing exposés. Every aspect that had been kept under wraps was suddenly well known. Investor funds were utilized by Neumann for personal expenses, including a tens of millions of dollars private plane that was purportedly used for business travel. Under the pretense of transforming the world, he rented his personal properties to his own business. Additionally, it was discovered that Adam had registered the trademark We under a different business before selling WeWork the rights for $6 million. He was compelled to refund the money due to the public outcry. However, the episode brought to light Neumann's treatment of investor monies as private property. The market went into a panic. Once valued at $47 billion, the company's value plummeted to $8 billion. Complete collapse in place of the eagerly awaited IPO. The initial public offering was cancelled. The primary investor, SoftBank, attempted to preserve the business, but only on the proviso that Neumann had to quit. In October of 2019, Adam Neumann stepped down. Not without anything, though. He received dividends totaling $1.7 billion, which included remuneration and a stock buyout. While investors who had contributed hundreds of millions of dollars saw their money wiped out, he left a billionaire. Thousands of workers were laid off. Layoff notices were given to employees who worked 14-hour days and shared the purpose. In all, 2,400 employees, or around 20% of the company's employment, had to be let go. Not even enough money was available for the corporation to provide standard severance. In order to pay off debts and stabilize what was left, SoftBank invested an additional $6 billion. A huge reorganization started. Crisis managers closed hundreds of offices, reduced the number to 66, cancelled WeLive and WeGrow, and stopped global expansion. Everything that had appeared to be enormous was now just a fight for existence. Following the epidemic, WeWork formally declared bankruptcy in 2023. Rent could no longer be paid by a formerly $47 billion firm. This is not the tale of a traditional fraud scheme, rather, it is the tale of a man who made promises, created a firm without a workable business plan, and made money off of it. Neumann did not violate any laws. In reality, however, he exploited confidence, concealed himself behind grandiose platitudes, deceived investors, and left the business mired in billions of dollars in debt while taking billions of dollars in personal fortune.